The 61st pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Drake Jackson, linebacker, USC. Welcome to the squad, bro.
Drake Jackson, when you saw him as a freshman, you thought this guy is going to be a top 10, top 15 pick. Play went a little bit up and down during his career there at USC. His weight fluctuated. He started out a little heavy, then he cut weight. Now he's put some of that weight back on. But he can really go off the edge. 34-inch arms, and he can bend. For a big guy coming off the edge, CD, he can really bend.
Yeah, absolutely can. But one of the things I see with him is you mentioned the weight. Up, down, what are you playing? Joel, you got to see him playing out there in the Pac-12. Are you that speed rusher off the edge, which I think he tried to be when he cut the weight? But I think he's better around the 270, 275 range, set the edge type of a defensive end and still get upfield. 4-3 defensive end would be perfect for him.
I just thought there was so much inconsistency about their identity. You know, as a program, as a defense, Clancy Pendergast was their defensive coordinator. Todd Orlando was the defensive coordinator. They're standing him up. He had pretty consistent production during the course of his career, 25 tackles for loss. He is a really good player. If he can put it together and get in the right position, right scheme fit, I think he can have a lot of production.
He went to one of the best defensive line coaches in Chris Kasurk. He'll find a way to get it out of him.
Well, there's a piece of Drake Jackson's story that I absolutely love. He's one of the youngest prospects in this class, just turned 21 2 weeks ago. In his 3 years, he had 25 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions. When he was born, on his birth certificate, his father said, say he's Drake Jackson, University of Southern California, outside linebacker. So he genuinely was born to do this, book.
Without a doubt, you talk about a guy coming off the edge, twitchiness, speed off the edge. We're not looking at a power player just yet. He's still got to develop that. But if you're looking for a guy that can flat foot turn the corner, that's bringing juice, a guy that the 49ers like, your defensive line coach we talked about, can you get the best out of this young man? This is the type of player they like, Greeny. Situational rusher early on as he continues to develop his strength, his power in his hands, but he is bringing juice initially.
Mel, how about it?
Yeah, I thought as a freshman, guys, he was on fire. He came out of the blocks right away at USC, showcased big-time talent. He had 11.5 tackles for loss and 6 sacks as a freshman. Then he leveled off a bit. A lot of his production this year came in 2 games. But you're right, guys, that power element's got to be added to the repertoire, but he can certainly get after the quarterback.
And welcome to the draft, 49ers. It's their first pick at number 61 here. Have a look at the big guy out of Southern California. Born in 2001, just celebrated a birthday just a couple of weeks ago.
Born into the family.
Yeah, Dad wanted to put USC outside linebacker 265 on his birth certificate. It was pretty close. Second team All Pac-12 this past season. This guy is really athletic. Do a backflip at 275 pounds. And there's the reaction for Drake Jackson. As an edge rusher primarily at USC moments ago, they're celebrating. He's going to move a little north in the state of California going to the Niners.
Well, and you say primarily he played a little bit more inside. In the beginning of his career, he's bigger, but showed a commitment, lost almost 35 pounds and moved to the outside. But look at the spin move at the bottom. He can get after quarterbacks. You can see how quick he is. But we just watch the pass rush ability. That's what you want to see. And listen, this looks like a San Francisco 49er pick.
Yeah,
exactly right.
With Jackson, you might be getting the best pure raw pass rusher in this class, just raw in terms of his tools and his potential. 34-inch arms, the speed off of the edge that he brings. He had outstanding results in the combine, at the combine of the vertical jump, 36.5 inches, 10.7 broad. You watch him, you just turn him loose as a pass rusher, he's outstanding. He can continue to get better and better, especially versus the run. Had some immaturity issues, but kind of starting to grow out of him. That's going to be the big key. Does he have some veteran leadership in the NFL to kind of keep him in the right place with the 49ers?
Like a twitchy Charles Harris. This is very good. Drake Jackson to the 49ers.
With the 93rd pick in the 2022 NFL draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Tyrion Davis-Price, running back, LSU.
to ask my son who this is later tonight. He's going to fill me in. I guarantee he knows him as a streamer. All right, you got a big-time running back from LSU. What do you know? It's another year. They produce running backs on a yearly basis. Downhill runner. What he does to free safeties out in the open field, there's an example of it right there against A&M. He's got tremendous patience. There's a lot of ability here. See the vision and the patience. Plays behind his blockers.
Especially against Florida.
Yeah, oh, my gosh, he ate them alive.
Killed them.
Another example of him showing you the vision and the feel inside. You talked about White maybe not being as comfortable between the tackles. Davis Price, very comfortable.
There's another one of your guys, Booger. He ran for over 1,000 yards last year, almost 5 yards a clip and 6 touchdowns.
No doubt, Green, and he can be a workhorse. Down at LSU this year, you can see the season didn't go the way they wanted to, but they gave him the football over and over, 20, 25, 30 carries a game. Faster than he looks, bigger than you think. Runs with a physical style. He's patient, has really good feet. I love the acceleration. When he sees hole, I hit hole, and I have the speed to take it the distance. Needs to work on the ability to break some tackles inside Lewis, but when he gets in open space, he has the speed to take it to the house.
Look, if you're going to go to San Francisco, you better play with the physical running style. You better be one of those guys who is durable, willing to take a bunch of hits and continue to run in that one-cut style that Kyle Shanahan loves. Look, this position, he has an affection for, that being Kyle Shanahan. The number one prerequisite for him at running back is toughness. You better be tough. And I mean tough because that's the way that they expect their running backs to play, down in and down out.
With the 105th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Danny Gray, wide receiver, SMU.
And enough time to shoehorn in one more wide receiver in the first 2 nights of this NFL Draft.
That has been the theme. 4.33, legit speed. Kyle will be glad to know this is not average juice, well above average juice for Danny Gray. Vertical ability. Somebody, when you see him, you feel that speed on the outside. Quick screens, get it to him and watch him go.
All right, and so Danny Gray is the 17th receiver selected this year. That is tied for the most in the first 3 rounds in NFL draft history. So, Mel, that really is one of the big storylines of this day. Danny Gray headed to San Francisco.
Anytime you run 4.33, Greeny, and you have the production Danny Gray has, you're going to get some attention on day 2 of the draft. You're not getting into day 3. You almost did, even with that blistering speed. Think about the big plays, vertically, catching underneath, doing damage with the run after catch ability, hands, tracking skills, body control, burst to create sudden separation. They're there. He has that kind of ability. 2 100-plus yard receiving games, 4 for 130 against TCU, 8 for 140 against Tulane. Led the Mustangs in receiving yards, tied for 2nd on the team in touchdowns. There's a lot to like about Danny Gray. You cannot teach speed. He's 4.33, and he had production at SMU. Here we go. This guy's got a shot because, like I said, he's rare in terms of the ability to stretch it, and he can beat you underneath as well.
Last couple of picks for the 49ers, one that we didn't get to earlier because of commercial bank hiring. Davis Price from LSU as a running back was selected, and then Danny Gray from SMU, a 4.3 40 guy. Caught a lot of passes for the Mustangs, and now will get a chance to start his NFL career with the 49ers.
With the 134th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Spencer Burford, tackle, UTSA.
Back to the trenches. San Francisco going offensive line and taking Spencer Burford from University of Texas, San Antonio.
Yeah, Burford was a 43-game starter at UTSA, and you look at him physically, 6'4", 304 pounds. He's not the biggest, widest guy, but he's kind of tall and lean, and he can get down the field in second level. He blocks to the echo of the whistle. I love his effort. You see him in pass protection. He's got the long arms you're looking for, 34 3/4 inch arms. And I think with a little refinement, he's going to become an even better player at the next level. The nice thing, too, when you're drafting on day 3 offensive linemen, you need versatility. He's lined up at left tackle, left guard, and right guard. He's basically started everywhere but the center position.
Spencer Burford, his Roadrunner team, set school records in scoring offense, total offense. They were 12-2. They were undefeated for a good portion of the season. The Trailer's done a really good job establishing that program. Spencer comes from a football family. He's had relatives play in college football. Sam Hurd's a cousin who was a NFL veteran for a half-dozen seasons. And now Burford added to the 49ers draft haul, which includes Drake Jackson. 49ers didn't pick in the first round. One of 10 teams not to make a selection on opening night. Got a running back from LSU, Ty Davis-Price, and Danny Gray, a wide receiver from SMU, was a third-round pick last night. And then Spencer Burford going up front for San Francisco.
All right, so out of UTSA, I thought Tariq Woolen would be the guy that we would be referencing out of UTSA just based off of that speed, but instead it's an offensive tackle here in Spencer Buford. Anything that jumps off the screen or the tape when you watched him?
Well, again, a small school guy. You mentioned Tariq Woolen. He's gotten all the hype, but this guy, raw athlete, needs some body development. He's got some length, but just his body thickness and stoutness needs to develop on. So with San Francisco, you go in there, he doesn't have to play right away. You invest in the future. So these are the type of guys you want to hit on in the 4th round. What can he really do well? How can we develop it?
With the 172nd pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Samuel Womack, defensive back, Toledo. Bang, bang, Niner gang!
All right, so the Giants pick is in. We'll get to the G-Men in just a minute. Mike, it's great to have you, man. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be here, Yammer. Feeling pretty good.
I got to tell you.
You're running the marathon, I'm running the sprint.
So the legend of Matt Money Smith, keep hearing about all the stories of previous drafts, which we'll get to in just a minute here. But the Toledo corner, the selection for the Niners, looking for a little help in that secondary.
Yeah, look, I think when you start getting into the 5th, 6th round, you're going to get a lot of these defensive backs that are all graded almost exactly the same.
With the 187th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Nick Zakelj, guard from Fordham. Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Nick Zakelj grew up a diehard Cleveland Browns fan. Now he loves him some 49ers, I'm sure, out of Fordham, Mel.
Yeah, defensive lineman in high school. He had 270 tackles back in the day. And you think about what he did with the Rams this year, helped them be tops in the Patriot League, 11th in the country, actually, in total offense. They average almost 450 yards per game. He can pull. He can make solid contact. He's got tough and nasty written all over him. He's not passive. This is an aggressive kid, 6'6", 316-pounder. As a run blocker, he fires off the ball. I love the way he finishes. Now, what he has to work on, guys, he's got to work on some leverage issues. As a pass blocker, he's sound technique-wise, can handle inside and outside pressure, but the pad level rises, the leverage issue happens in the run blocking. This is coaching, and the 49ers certainly will work through that with Nick Zakelj. When you got that mean, nasty, and you're tough, aggressive like he is, and you're 6'6", 316, and you got pretty good feet, there's a future for Nick Zakelj with the 49ers.
The last block on that highlight was assault and battery.
He is the 4th player from Fordham to be drafted. The most recent was Chase Edmonds, a running back who was a 4th rounder in 2018. You see what the 49ers have done, starting with linebacker from USC, Drake Jackson, and the most recent one, Nick Zakelj.
Oh, Baldy. Look, man, I got to tell you, it is rare when I get to talk about one of my own. A Fordham Ram in the house going to San Francisco. Baldy, I love it.
Let's see. The list of Fordham Rams right now in the NFL,
Chase
is it just a running back at this point, Mike?
Well, now, and we got an offensive tackle.
Yeah. and so, look, the one thing about, if you play at Fordham, you've got to dominate the competition. Like I remember when, Tampa Bay drafted a player out of Hobart College, and he went to the Senior Bowl and he dominated. And you look at him move, he's got the traits that you need.
With the 220th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Kalia Davis, defensive tackle from UCF.
Went to Calvin Hall Proud. Great job, Chance. Kalia Davis, heck of a player. Unfortunately, had the injury, season-ending knee injury, October 9th against East Carolina. Before that, he was looking like a third-round pick, maybe even a second-round pick. For a linebacker in high school, 6'1", 305-pounder with long arms. Against Boise State, he was dominant, explodes into the backfield, athletic kid, powerful hands. Really liked the way he closed down laterally. Had Kalia Davis not gotten hurt, he'd have been a major factor in terms of the early portion of this draft. Now, let's see when he comes back from the knee injury, but a whale of a player. Like I said, out all of 20 with COVID season. Then you think about this past year, October 9th, end of his year. But if they put on that Boise State tape, there'll be a lot to like about Kalia Davis.
Staying with Khalil Davis here, Mark, anything that when you were examining the tape and looking at what the needs were for San Francisco, why this pick makes sense?
Well, at this point in the draft, this is where your area scouts make their money. This is the guys that they really love. And if you see with Davis, he's missed the last 8 games in 2021. So this is really where the area scouts have been tracking this guy for the last few years, not just off of this pick. So this is where they make their money.
With the 221st pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Tariq Castro-Fields, defensive back, Penn State.
The 6th round, 221st overall, was Tariq Castro-Fields, cornerback from Penn State, who also went to San Francisco.
Yeah, we've been saying it all day long. It's about traits. It's about developmental players at this point in time, and Tariq Castro-Fields is just that. 6 foot, 197 pounds, 4.38 in the 40. Look, he has the traits you want to develop. He flashes, again, in single safety middle coverages. When there's a safety in the middle of the field and he plays with his hips open, he makes plays like this. When he's in position, he can finish on the football with PBUs. He looks like a pro type of corner. It's just the inconsistencies, once again, that we talk about with all players at this level of the draft. It'll be something like, I'm playing too close to the wide receiver. I don't know where my help is coming from. I get burned on a deep post. Something like that. Something that just causes you to sit there and take a pause about whether or not this guy really gets it from a football intellect and from an instinct standpoint. That's the category he falls in because he has all the tools to play in the NFL.
Baldy, you're familiar with Castro-Fields and what he did at Penn State. You tell me, break down the game for me.
Well, one thing about all these kids coming out of Penn State, they all can run. I mean, and so you're looking for traits and skills right now as they try to rebuild their secondary, and that's what you're looking for, a guy that can play man coverage that they play out there in Mount Nittany. And you see him against some good receivers in this division, in this conference, going up against Jahan Dotson in practice every day. Like, you can see the break on the ball right there. Like, you just got to work on the jug machine and make sure you bring that one in. But the one thing that they have at Penn State is they've got speed at every position on defense.
Yeah, Baldy, you're right. And I think probably Tariq Castro-Fields was kind of a little bit disappointing probably for him going in the 6th round. Probably thought he would go a little bit higher here because he does have size. He does have speed on field and 40 time. Played at Penn State, played at a high level. But you have to use him the right way. You get him up on the receiver, mugging guys, press and run until he learns how to play a little bit better off coverage.
So the 47th Mr. Irrelevant 2022, with the 262nd pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Brock Purdy, a quarterback from Iowa State. Go Niners!
Well, there you go. We've been talking about Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. They just added another quarterback here in Brock Purdy. Started 47 games at Iowa State, has played a ton of football, won a lot of football games there for Matt Campbell. Extremely accurate, 72% completion percentage. They use him a lot on zone reads where he's just tough and quick and gritty. The issue at times, he can hold the ball a little bit too long at times and take some sacks. Doesn't have an overpowering arm, but competitive. That's how I describe Brock Purdy.
Came out of high school really highly ranked. You remember DJ's one of those 5-star type prospects who struggled in the early going at Iowa State before figuring it out. And boy, he figured it out in a big way. Biggest part of him is that competitive streak. This is about, a program with Matt Campbell as a head coach. Really climbed, played for a conference championship 2 years ago. Really got it done.
So, Mr. Irrelevant is a quarterback. How about that? If you will, the most relevant position on the field.
It's kind of fitting for this draft to end with a quarterback. Yes, Mr. Irrelevant.
Isn't that right?
It's great.
So it's a really good thing that I got in that note about no Mr. Irrelevant having thrown a pass, because that could change, because this Brock Purdy had a really, really solid career at Iowa State, Mel.
Yeah, I thought he'd been there for 10 years. I mean, it seems like Mike Rose, a linebacker, Brock Purdy, Charlie Kohler, Matt Campbell had these guys together. Breece Hall doing a great job running the ball. Look at Brock Purdy. Doesn't have the ideal size, doesn't have the big-time arm. And I thought he kind of leveled off. You keep expecting quarterbacks to keep getting better and better. Brock Purdy was Brock Purdy. That's who he is. He looked to me, Todd, every time I watched Brock Purdy, I thought, career backup in the NFL. Doesn't have the overall skill set to be a starter, but he's got the mind. He thinks on his feet. He makes clutch plays, and he's a winner. So I thought career backup. What did you think, Todd?
Yeah, I thought career backup, but let's give him some love. He virtually holds every career passing record, including passing yards, touchdown passes, completions, passing efficiency, and completion percentage at Iowa State. I mean, he's a heck of a player. He's just got kind of limited.
He was a good athlete, mobile guy, solid guy, good leader for Iowa State.